For people who think college football has become lawless, this is the beginning of structure. On July 1st, the NCAA's House settlement officially goes into effect. It brings revenue sharing, NIL regulation, and real enforcement, finally. And while it doesn't fix everything, this is the strongest foundation we've seen yet for making college football fairer, more competitive, and more stable without losing its charm. Today, I'll break down each part of the settlement and explain why it's exactly what college football needs. My name is Zach, welcome to the Sports Corner at Choose Adventure Media, and let's get into it. Let's start with the money. Schools can now share up to $20.5 million a year with its athletes across all sports, and that number will go up by 4% annually. I think we'll see schools split it in different ways. Some will go all in on football, others might prioritize other sports like basketball or baseball. Most will probably follow the revenue, football, then men's basketball, and then everyone else. If a school has the money, I think they should spend it. But don't confuse spending with winning. Development still matters more. Now pair that with the NIL reform. All NIL deals over $600 must be vetted by a third party and meet fair market value. To me, this is a game changer. The NCAA's biggest failure hasn't been making rules, it's been enforcing them. This adds structure and accountability. Coaches have been asking for NIL regulation, but let's be honest. Some of these same coaches were paying players under the table for years before NIL was legal. This system gives us enforceable rules, and that's what the sport has been missing. This part doesn't get talked about enough, but it matters. The NCAA is paying $2.8 billion in back pay to athletes who played between 2016 and 2024, essentially compensating them for the NIL money they weren't allowed to earn. Why 2016? That's the earliest point the lawsuit could legally go back to under federal antitrust law. It marks the start of the NCAA's legal exposure, so that's where the timeline begins. But regardless of the legal reason, this back pay is long overdue. The NCAA profited off athletes for far too long. This won't erase the past, but it is a meaningful step forward towards justice, and a major signal that players now have real leverage. One of the more controversial elements, roster limits. Right now, scholarship limits exist, but starting July 1st, total roster caps are coming too. Some people see that as bad for walk-ons or developmental players, but here's why I love it. It forces better coaching, it helps spread out talent, and it makes the sport less predictable. Do you realize that in 2013, Alvin Kamara and Derrick Henry were both in the same running back room in Alabama? Smaller rosters mean fewer stockpiled backups. More teams will enter the season with real title hopes, and more young players will see the field early. It's not bad for the sport, it's great for parity. This isn't the end of the NCAA, but it's a warning shot. A new enforcement model is on the way, potentially run by a third party. Thank God. The NCAA has had decades to earn trust, and they have failed at every turn. Personally, I trust an independent board way more than I trust the NCAA or the conferences. The big leagues will just lobby for their own interests. What we need is objective, consistent enforcement, with real punishments and swift decisions. That's the only way to build actual accountability anywhere, including in college football. Of course it's going to get messy. Roster limits, revenue splits, and equity requirements have raised real Title IX concerns. But let me say this, equality is supposed to be messy. Doing the right thing doesn't mean doing the easy thing. The courts already reviewed this settlement and approved it after those concerns were addressed, and more lawsuits will be coming. But now we have a legal foundation. That's something college sports has never had, and it's a massive win. This won't solve every problem, but it finally gives college football something it's been missing for decades: rules, structure, and real consequences. It doesn't kill the transfer portal, but it stabilizes it. It doesn't eliminate NIL chaos, but it brings some order. And most importantly, it brings us closer to a version of college football where everyone, from walk-ons to All-Americans, is treated fairly, valued properly, and coached in a system that rewards more than just money. This is the beginning of a new era, and honestly, it's long overdue. My name is Zach, this is the Sports Corner at Choose Adventure Media, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.